Hello, the first day of the semester is finally here, and it's American Literature, required humanities course, 3 credit hours. We're going to be entirely online this semester, but we're not really online. We're in our minds, we're in our imaginations. We're going to be in the 4 creative texts that I've assigned you this semester. We'll be in our discussion forum on this website, or I should say on iLearn, and you'll be maybe in your email a little bit. But the most important thing is those 4 books that you're going to read and some very exciting written responses. My name is Mr. Smith. I've been teaching at Tennessee Tech since around 2001, and I've been teaching topics in American Lit since about 2008. This is really my favorite class to teach, and I'm so grateful that you chose to sign up with me. Even we're not going to be in the regular classroom, we're going to be having some great times together. And I think it's very important at the beginning of every academic year, really every semester, that you ask yourself, why am I here? What is the purpose? And a general education humanities course is required even if you're an engineer or a nurse or a K-6 teacher, or going into criminology, and you're going to be a social worker, you're going to be this or that. A literature course like your music appreciation and theater and other humanities courses, these help you become well-rounded citizens. And a bachelor degree from Tennessee Tech says that you have accomplished these things. And so it's an honor that I get to be your coach for this experience, and that I get to interact with you electronically on iLearn and through the email. But most importantly, reading your responses to these texts we're going to read. I'm going to make a lot of short videos this semester. I'm going to try to keep them all short. Occasionally, I might upload a video from a previous semester when I met in a real-time online class, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday for an hour, that kind of thing. Those videos will be a little bit longer, those archived. But take time to watch these things. You can do it while you're walking to class, doing other stuff. You don't necessarily have to sit here, all the time, or you can project it, on your TV at home and make your family watch, or your friends watch me on YouTube. I don't really care how you do it, as long as you make the time to do it. You can put it on your phone, on your earbuds while you're on the treadmill. It doesn't really matter, as long as you take some time to get into these mini lectures. It will help you be successful in this course and also understand what's expected of you. So the most important thing to do is to read those 4 books and just read them cover to cover. Some students I've encountered in past semesters really have a hard time reading, and they struggle with reading. They do a whole fake it till you make it, and they kind of, sort of half do it. I want to know that the 3 long form books, the 2 memoirs and the novel, are all available on Audible, so you can listen to Song for a New Day, to Wild, or to Love is a Mixtape. And then I'm going to send you at some point some podcasts with our guest, Shalane Harkin. But you can also go and meet her and get your book signed and have a really cool in-person night with the author on Thursday, September 8th. That's coming up in just a few weeks. With our first textbook, you can meet Shalane Harkin here on campus. Do the assignments. The syllabus outlines them clearly. They'll also be posted all in iLearn, and I'm slowly getting things uploaded to iLearn. Take time to check your email and log into iLearn on a periodic basis. And don't copy other people's ideas about these books. All you need is those books and your imagination. I'm very generous in my grading philosophy. I'll just be returning points for you all on these. So don't stress out about the assignment, but please don't go and take a paper that somebody else wrote about one of these books. Or I've even had students post reviews that they read on Amazon about their textbook. Don't do that. Just do your own work. It's academic integrity and honesty, and you'll feel better about yourself. And I promise you, it's going to be a fairly painless experience as far as the grade. There is a significant amount of stuff that you need to do. There'll also be a creative midterm and a creative final. So there is significant things to do, but nothing that's hard, as long as you make the effort. So engage with the books and get involved. This is my trigger warning here, that we are dealing with religion in the first poetry book. In the second book, the memoir Wild, there's a lot of bit of drug use and human sexuality stuff. These are not meant to be, provocative for their own sake, but there's a larger narrative in that story about a person recovering and grieving and finding themselves by walking the PCT, much like the Appalachian Trail here in the Southeast. So go and be open-minded. You're not required to like any of our textbooks. You're not required to agree with the authors by any means. But I do encourage you to engage with them and just be open-minded. It's college. This is the time to be exposed to new and different ideas, especially in a humanities course like literature. But you're not required to like or approve of anything I say or anything that the authors say. You are a free agent, an autonomous member of this online community. And I look forward to your feedback in writing. And if you want to be contrary in your reader responses to these texts, that's certainly your prerogative. And I look forward to reading those responses. So there's no obligation to like that, but there is some, I don't know, controversial material to a certain extent in some of our texts. Nothing about the current politics or anything like that. Though that might, be something that intersects with our material. So why do we study literature? I've already explained that we're trying to be very well-rounded human beings that are active agents in our community. We are, we have a passion and a love for life. We have a zest for human experience, and literature, like popular music and other forms of art, is one of those places where those expressions really come out and make the various nuances of our humanity tangible and beautiful and terrifying at times. And so this is a required course because you're in a comprehensive 4-year bachelor's program. And that means that you're expected to be a scholar, a generalist to a certain extent, and to have a wide kind of knowledge about a variety of topics. And so required humanities is because you're going to have a degree from a credentialed institution that values the well-rounded intellectual capacity of a scholar like yourself. So it's not your major, but maybe think of this as your fun class. Or maybe I've had students claim in the past that this is the class where they kind of blow off a little bit of steam emotionally, and they can lose themselves in the books or in the assignments and just kind of try to have fun with that. And even though we won't be in an in-person classroom, I love interacting with tech students. And so I'm here and available to interact with you as much or as little as you choose. So what is literature? Literature is language that celebrates language itself. It says, look, hey, I'm language. Literature is an aesthetic object, like a painting or a song. It is a sculpture, even an aesthetic object that channels a humanity's appreciation of the beautiful, the true, and the good. And while you might not find the same things beautiful, some people like really sad movies, some people like blues music. So sometimes the very somber and sober topics of the tragedies of humanity and of our times create art that might be, a rough, if you will, but it does point us to these deeper questions about what it means to be a human. And that's what we say when we talk about the relationship to the beautiful, to the true, and to the good. Understanding this, people have asked questions, where does literature begin and end? Is it just poetry and fiction novels and plays, or does it include other genres as well? And people have asked, are these song lyrics literature? What about this comic book? What about this Super Bowl commercial? How do we know what gets included and what is excluded in the definition of literature? I have a fluid understanding of it, and the scholars that informed this little mini talk had a fluid understanding of it as well. They don't see literature as an essence. It's not a pure thing that is, comes from the muse or from God, though it might come from both of those things. Our first poet this semester, she's in touch with God and the muse both. She's got it on all channels, and they're clicking at a rapid and wild and beautiful place, right? But literature is not some pure, perfect, ribbon and bow cookie cutter situation. It is a category of writing, and it's a cultural institution, such as the English department at Tech. We have lots of scholars of literature and lovers of literature. And I'm a creator myself. I'm a poet, somewhat accomplished poet myself. And so it's the institution of the people who make books and give poetry readings. So texts can be placed inside and outside the category of literature based on who's talking at the time and who depends on who you ask, right? So depending on context, the situations of our times, the intentions of the authors, literature can reflect what's going on. It can shape what's going on. It can promote or provoke certain ideas. It can make us more civilized, or it could, be a part of the fall of civilization. Literature is a weapon at times, right? It's a proud, non-violent weapon to get people excited about making the world a different place. If we were in the in-person classroom, the Robin Williams guy that in Dead Poets Society stands up on a desk and screams at a student and rips up textbooks and say, words and ideas do change the world. And I'm kind of that guy. That was Robin Williams, by the way, American actor and comedian who passed away a few years ago, who played Mr. Keating in the Dead Poets Society. You should check that out if you've never seen that movie. It'd be a good, it's a little depressing at the end, but a good movie to watch for the beginning of the school year. Literature can challenge our standard way of thinking. It can teach us new vocabulary words, make us more sophisticated. It can call attention to how our world is organized and what is good and bad about that way of organization. And no one agrees. I mean, in literary scholarship, we all disagree about these things, just like we disagree about these things in society. And so those things you're not supposed to talk to your, if you have a new significant other and they invite you home for Thanksgiving this semester to their family's house, you don't bring up, politics and religion. But in English class, those are the kind of things that are fair game. For sure. In other humanities classes, you might take a sociology class or a history class here at Tennessee Tech that brings in those kinds of topics. But ultimately, literature is whatever the community of literary scholars and literary fans choose to call by that name, and to read with the kind of intention and the kind of attention and the kind of joy and the kind of focus that we give to the project of literature. And so according to the people who came up with the General Education Core, and this has been part of Tennessee higher education since I've been involved, and these things are constantly being tweaked and refined, but you're going to learn this semester to critically analyze the text that you're looking at, right, through those reader responses. You're going to explore the diversity, and I wish I had more diversity in this curriculum, but you'll explore some diversity of American ideas through these literary texts. You'll see that there's change and continuity in American literature, and that American literature reflects our culture and values and challenges our culture and values in very different ways. So what's on that bookshelf of the books you should read? I've asked you in the discussion forum, and some people have already started replying to that, the books that have been formative in your life. We don't all have the same books on that shelf that are the books that you should have read. I have had people come up to me over the years and say, oh, you're an English professor. You must, what do you think of, this novel by this author? And most of the time when that happens to me out in the community, I've not read that author. And then I might start talking about authors that are formative and influential to me, and you've never heard of that author. So we don't all agree what's on that bookshelf. What are those chosen books? Because I'm the teacher, I got to pick the texts that you're reading this semester, but it could be different texts. Those are the texts I chose for this semester. I've switched out my curriculum. I don't use an anthology. I don't have like a big fat anthology where we're trying to get every text from, the pre-colonial, pre-revolutionary 17th century all the way to today. I found that approach a little challenging. I think some students find that boring. This is not for English majors. This is a topics in American literature course. And so I've got 4 themes, one related to poetry and spirituality, the other to the idea of the wild and the wilderness, utopia and dystopia, and my favorite, the mixtape, America as a mixtape. Yes, I said what I said, and you're going to like that assignment and that unit. It's going to blow your mind, but we will be making our own mixes, probably not using a mix cassette, but Spotify or something of that like towards the end of the semester. So the 4 books that you need to get at the bookstore or from the book vendor of your choice begins with the DIY Internet sensation, Shalane Harkin, the mystic poet Shalane Harkin with Let Us Dance. She will be on campus on September the 8th. Please attend her presentation at the Backdoor Playhouse that night at 7 o'clock. If you can make it, that's on the Quadrangle, just off the Quadrangle at the back door of the Jerry Whitson building. That's where your admissions office is located. Then we'll be reading Wild by Cheryl Strayed. There is also an audiobook. There's also a movie starring Reese Witherspoon as Cheryl Strayed. Strongly encourage you to check this out. Very important book to me. I've often paired it with Into the Wild by Krakauer. I'm not doing that this semester. You may want to check out that book and movie as well on your own time. Love is a Mixtape by Rob Sheffield, professional music writer. It's a grieving memoir about losing his wife, and it's his tribute to his deceased wife and his grief and his love through a box of cassettes that he kept. And he tells the story of himself, but he also tells the story of the mixtape as a genre. It's an easy read and it's a perfect introduction. So you'll be completely on fire when it comes time to make your own mixtape at the end of the semester. Finally, the Utopia Dystopia book, and it could be both, is Song for a New Day. It takes place when there's a terrorist attack and a pandemic and all of society shuts down. That never happens. And people can't go to concerts because of the pandemic. That never happens. And she wrote this before our pandemic. And so the facts don't exactly line up, but it starts with a band that is the last band to play live before live concerts go away. I'm not going to spoil the whole plot. This is a page turner, very well written. I think you'll really, really, really be able to relate to the main character and also to the circumstances of the story, because it's actually the story of what we've all gone through the last 3 years. I'm excited that you're here. I'm going to keep these readings short. These videos short, and I hope that you will interact with me on iLearn and on email, and I will have posted office hours starting on Wednesdays in a few weeks in my office. Also, you can set up an appointment for a virtual meeting. I use Google Meeting, and you're welcome to join me for that. So really, it's going to be easy for us to stay in touch. And so I don't want anyone to be intimidated or alarmed because it's an online class, because we're going to do the same work and we're going to have the same amount of fun. And it's flexible. So you can listen to these videos, like I said, on the treadmill, with your family, in the morning before you leave for your other classes, while you're walking to class on your smartphone. I don't care how you consume these videos. I'll try to keep them short. And I look forward to getting your emails and your messages and your assignments on iLearn. I've got some content in iLearn, but I'll be frequently adding more. So check back every few days to your tech email and to the iLearn for more content. I'm Mr. Smith. I'm your teacher for the semester, and I cannot wait to interact with you guys online or in person if you come to office hours in person later in the term. Thank you all so much for choosing my course. I look forward to working with you this semester. And I just hope you have a great first couple weeks of the semester. It's going to be a wonderful school year this year. So glad you're here, and I'll see you soon.